This is Infamously Speaking. I'm Matt Rosa. That's Quan. We're here to talk Super Bowl Sunday. It's going to be a little bit shorter of an episode. We're just going to get right to it. Let the game play out. Of course, we'll come back with the reactions, then look forward to the offseason. Seahawks, Patriots, and Quan, I believe that I haven't made my pick.
No, you
I
haven't made your
know,
pick. I've been waiting with
you
anticipation
have.
on the hatred you have for New England.
Oh, hatred doesn't even describe it. And let me just make it clear. It's not New England as a whole. It's just the Patriots. Because I love New England. From New England, got this beautiful map of Connecticut right behind me. Hometown of Norwich, right there. Shout out to my people in the A60, Southeast of Connecticut, holding it down. But the time has come for me to make my Super Bowl pick. And I've grinded to all 22, watched multiple games back of both teams. And, I found it interesting because a lot of people were like, man, is Infamously Speaking secretly a undercover Patriots podcast? Because they sure talk about those guys a lot. Drake Maye, man, this guy Matt loves Drake Maye. Of course, Quan does. He's a Patriots fan. They keep talking about Mike Vrabel, coach of the year. Underrated defense. Keep on trying to justify the easy schedule. And they're not talking enough about the Seattle Seahawks. Well, I'm here to tell you today, I'm ready to talk about the Seattle Seahawks. Just the number one scoring defense. Just 14-3 and the number one seed in the NFC. Just knocked off my preseason NFC Super Bowl pick, the Los Angeles Rams, who I think a lot of people liked. A lot of sports media, just fans of the league, was like the Los Angeles Rams, what people think is going to be the MVP, Matt Stafford. But the Seattle Seahawks are no joke. Absolutely dominated the 49ers in the divisional playoff round. Put belt to the proverbial bottom of the San Francisco 49ers. Then Sam Darnold does the impossible in the NFC Championship game and outduels Matt Stafford, who played a phenomenal game. Sam Darnold just says, hey, you might be the MVP, but today I'm the better quarterback. And I was impressed. Extremely impressed. And then I started to think about it. I'm like, let me look at the paths to the Super Bowl here real quick. Seattle played the way more daunting schedule. I think we could both admit that, right? Patriots, easy schedule. Seattle had to play their divisional rivals on their way to the Super Bowl. 49ers got another crack at them. The Rams got another crack at them, especially after that heartbreaking defeat in Seattle just a couple weeks back. New England, kind of cupcake schedule. Played the Chargers, right? Chargers, tough team, right? Great top 5 scoring defense. Played 3 straight top 5 scoring defenses, in fact, but each of them had a flaw. Chargers, no tackles. Houston, CJ Stroud played so bad he had to change his haircut. Not sure if you saw that. Got rid of the locks. That's how bad he played. Like, I needed a whole new image, new year, new me.
Yeah. He had to rebrand himself.
Rebrand himself, which I don't hate, by the way. I like that. And then, of course, Bo Nix snaps his ankle. Play the Broncos. So everything for me, I'm like, man, it's obvious who I got to go with. And me being here in the Pacific Northwest, I think it's only right that I go with the home team. So give me the fucking New England Patriots, baby. Oh, give me the Patriots. This is about to
Let's
be light,
go!
boys. This is about to be light.
I thought you was going to go the political route like Tom Brady and be like, I don't have a dog in this fight.
Nah, Drake Maye's the GOAT. Got to go on my guy Drake, man.
Yeah. So you made a lot of great points for Seattle. I'm not even mad if people pick Seattle, other than the people that's just picking them to hate on the Patriots and don't want to see us win, which is, you're used to that at this point. I know I am. Like, it's just, it comes with the territory of being a champion so much. But, some of the things I do want to call out specifically is the path that the Patriots took during the playoffs, right? Now, granted, Seattle had a bye, well-deserved, played 2 division rivalries. And but the Patriots to overcome play Drake not even being the catalyst to those wins, uh, playing against those tough defenses, now playing the number one scoring defense. Yeah, so I think that only prepared him more for this game. He made some big plays when it mattered and when it was necessary, right? Texans, uh, big touchdown to Booty. Denver running the ball when he needed to, ideal moments. Um, and I think the biggest thing that I feel is a concern for Seattle is that they haven't played a defense like New England during that course. So I think Sam Darnold is going to be seeing ghosts once again, and we're going to bring Halloween to February.
What a
It's going to be a
bar.
spooky Valentine's Day for this guy.
What a bar. Halloween in February. So I'm not gonna repeat or echo the points that you just made, even though I'm in agreement with the majority of them. But I really looked at it and I was like, what's most important to me when I think about Super Bowl matchups? And first thing is the quarterback. Obviously, it's the engine that makes things go. Who do I trust more? I trust Drake Maye. I understand second year player. And he hasn't been playing his best ball. You could say this is probably his worst stretch, worst 3-game stretch throughout this entire season. But
Mhm.
I talked about last episode why I thought the Denver game was his best game. And it was simply because of his ability to limit the turnovers. Because he was under siege that game. It's not like he wasn't getting hit like he was against the Chargers or against the Texans. He's able to limit that. And I think it's a very similar formula to winning against Seattle. I get it. It's Sam Darnold. It's not Jared Stidham. I get it. The offensive line of the Seattle Seahawks is top tier. But you know what? Who's else? Other offensive line was top tier. The Broncos line was top tier. That defensive line of the Patriots did really well. I think they're going to be prepared, regardless of what the scenarios are. We talked about their ability to win in situational football. We saw that in all 3 games, but just calling out the last 2 playoff games where the Patriots had long, sustained drives to bleed clock in the second half when they needed to. The Denver game, they come away with 3, and that's the 3 that wins the game. In the Houston game, they don't come away with any points, but they go from their own goal line out to midfield and able to punt against a Houston offense that couldn't do anything.
Mhm.
Situational football matters, especially in big games. Who's going to be able to perform in those moments? I like the Patriots because of their coaching and their quarterback. And then even if you go position group by position group, you throw a wide receiver out there and you immediately gravitate towards Seattle because of JSN and the incredible things he was able to do. But then after JSN, who's there? Yes, I know Cooper Kupp had a great game, but this isn't Triple Crown Cooper Kupp. And I get it, Rashid Shaheed is a deep play threat. But I'll tell you what, I like the consistency across the Patriots receiver group more than I like the consistency across the Seattle receiver group.
Oh, I agree. Obviously, JSN the best wide receiver on the field that day.
Absolutely.
But overall, I like the Patriots receiver group, even past the first 3, like I told you, with Booty, Pop, and Diggs. I love Chisholm. I'm telling you, you give that guy an opportunity, he's gonna make the most of it. I promise you that. Tight end, Barner's been balling. I'll say he had a stretch this year, but I'm taking Hunter Henry. I don't think we see as much of Hunter Henry because he's not asked to do as much as he was last year because you've
Yep.
got I haven't mentioned Mac Hollins. I like Mac Hollins. He comes in, makes some big plays. He's
Made the
great in
big
the
catch.
run. He's great with the run blocking. And I think he's also one of those guys that kind of hypes people up by walking into the stadium like he doesn't own a pair of shoes and socks. So he's one with the
Absolutely.
earth.
So then you look at offensive line, and that is the battle that I think Seattle squarely wins, hands down. But I think Drake's going to be able to play better under pressure than Sam, who again did a great job against the Rams. And this is not, I think this is more, and I want to make this really clear. This is more confidence in the Patriots than it is, I don't believe in the Seahawks. I wanna make that extremely clear. I think Seattle if Denver even if Bo Nix was healthy, Denver is playing Seattle, I'm picking Seattle. I think if anybody else came out the AFC, I would probably pick Seattle in this game.
The Chiefs?
Well, the Chiefs didn't even have a chance, but I appreciate you throwing that dig in there.
Yo, you didn't even mention the running backs. I'm taking the Patriots
Oh,
running
yeah.
backs.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with the Charbonnet injury. But even before that, Ramondre, especially second half of the season, On's been incredible, and I would love to see more Travion.
I think we need that. In a big game like that, big plays, even in any game, but obviously the biggest game, you make a big home run play, um that deflates a team.
That's usually what you
It's
need to
almost
be
like
a
when
great defense. You need a home run play
oh
because
yeah.
the odds of you methodically driving down the field,
Mhm.
not very likely. So you get and they got the threat. Like you said, Travion, Booty is another one, big play threat.
You know what though? It's like it depends when it happens and how it comes because I'm a big believer in like consistency, especially in a football game and not the one-offs. I'll tell you why. I don't know if you remember when the Titans got a big lead on the Chiefs, I believe it was, right? I think they had like a return kickoff for a touchdown. Something else happened.
That was the Texans. That was the Texans
Was the Texans versus the Chiefs?
when they were up like 24-0.
Yeah, I was like, the way they're scoring, it's not sustainable. Like they're not going
Right.
to be able to,
Yes.
you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I was like, the Chiefs still have a shot. And they clearly did because they ended up winning that game. But that's the only thing that worries me about some of the big plays. It's like if you get them too ahead of yourself, that could come crashing down real quick. We've seen that with the Patriots and the Falcons. But the difference, I feel like, goes back to the coaching, where Vrabel's gonna be like, no, I've been in too many games where this shit could turn upside down real quick. So just
Mhm.
keep playing Patriot football.
Yeah, and then not only that, but you got Josh McDaniels, who's seen it all from a coordinator standpoint. That's talking to Drake every time he's on the bench. So I think if there's anybody that's ready to deal with getting punched in the mouth, it would be New England. And you know what I felt was really really interesting against that in that Denver game was the fact that they went down because in the first two playoff games they scored first.
Mhm.
This time you go down and it's a touchdown drive by Jarrett Stidham. There's that play that happens on Gonzo where Stidham kind of looks off it was a good play by Stidham, looks off the safety when Gonzo thinks he's gonna have the safety over the top, lets the receiver get by him, right? And then the Sutton touchdown. That was a crucial moment, right? Like, let's test their metal. We're down early, hostile environment. Their offense still is doing nothing, but their defense was like, we're gonna hold on as long as we need to, and
Mhm.
that's what gives me so much confidence again in picking New England. Not that Seattle can't win the game, but coaching, quarterback, and I get it. This Seattle defense is different, but so is the Patriots defense. And I think that's
Mhm.
getting overlooked in a lot of the talk because of the injuries to the Chargers tackles. CJ Stroud's inability to do anything good, especially because he showed a lot of that inability against the Steelers, right? And then of course Bo Nix being hurt. and
Yeah.
and the bad weather. So, but Patriots defense been balling for a while now. This is not circumstantial.
By any means. And no Williams is not no he's a problem. You see what he did last year, Super Bowl.
Savage.
I'm excited for this game. I'm getting more excited as the week goes on because I was excited when we beat Denver, and then just life happened, so it kind of took me away
Right.
from the momentum. But
Mhm.
I can't wait for this game.
I think it's gonna be a great one, to be completely honest with you. And I hope that Sam Darnold doesn't see ghosts. Like I hope we get a game like we got Rams Seahawks, where we could see two quarterbacks going back and forth, and it's just a couple plays on either side. Because
What's the Go ahead,
I
my
know
bad.
I'm sure you enjoyed the Patriots Rams Super Bowl where it was extremely low scoring because you guys won, but that was a terrible Super Bowl to watch. Terrible.
It wasn't as fun and exciting, but there was people forget Edelman had a crazy ass game that game. Did
Okay.
Edelman win MVP?
I think you did.
I think he did win MVP that game. He was cooking. He just wasn't putting points on the board. But I don't mind a defensive game. I know most people want to see the scores and all that, but you could have a good competitive defensive game.
Yeah. Yeah, you
The
think
problem with
Steelers,
the Denver
Ravens?
one, the problem with the Denver one is just it wasn't just no points; it was no movement. You know what
Yeah,
I
that's a
mean?
great point. Yeah, it was nothing. It was like,
Yeah,
this
it's
is a
like just
lot of
watching.
ineptitude.
All we did was watch Weather Channel. Really, just watching a blizzard the whole time.
Weather Channel with a football background.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but do you know? That's what I was going to ask you. Do you know what the weather is for the game? Like a forecast,
I
at
could look
least,
it up. I mean, they're in San Francisco. Shouldn't be too bad.
bro.
Uh,
I see the stat. It was colder in Orlando, Florida, than it was in the capital of Alaska recently.
it was when during that whole winter storm, it was colder in Texas than it was here. It was like 40 something degrees here, and it was like 10 degrees over there.
Yeah, we're supposed to be at least the Northeast. We're supposed to be hit with another like freezing temperature thing.
Uh, Kickoff would be around 4 p.m. So 64 degrees or 20% of rain. 20% of rain. And by
Hopefully,
the
it don't
end of
rain.
the game, 55.
Yeah, that's
So,
fine. That's great weather.
well, the cold doesn't matter. It's just you don't want rain. But I mean, it is what it is. It's football. Play some football, man.
Drake looked crazy against Tampa in the rain. By the way,
I mean, you think that. I mean, I wonder if it favors Seattle more and does nothing but rain up here.
I would
They should get
assume
used
it
to that.
would.
Listen, I'm
The
not
only
worried
thing
about
that
any of that.
I remember that Tampa. That's when Travion went crazy.
You have a running game you can lean on, and they've been able to run against tough defenses. I think that's what has given me an additional source of confidence is obviously not seeing Drake turn the ball over, him being able to limit that. But them being able to run the ball when they need to, even when it's obvious that they're going to run the ball, that's what's impressive. When your opponent knows what the hell you're going to do and you could still do it, like that drive they
Mhm.
had against Denver. Denver knew what they was doing. They didn't fool
Yeah,
nobody, but they was
yeah.
still ripping off 4 or 5 yards of carry, which then
Mhm.
made the flea flicker call perfect. And Ramondre had that great block. He hits Matt Collins and ended up getting the field goal range. But uh, their ability to run the ball has has me feeling really good against what could be a really tough Seattle defense.
Yeah, I think honestly in football you have to. The moment you become one dimensional, you're setting yourself up for a world of hurt.
Absolutely. I mean, the game last week was a perfect example of that, right? Where like they had to become one dimensional because of the what the weather was, where you're kind of like, all right, defense knows what's coming. That's what made it so impressive that drive, right? Where there's like, we just can't stop it. For whatever reason, that one drive, Denver just couldn't stop it. So, um, now I want to talk about the Seattle side because again, this is not a Patriots podcast. We just have that's the pick that we're making. Each of us have made. Obviously, there is avenues for Seattle to win this game. But I don't think that there's on either side like a glaring advantage. Because I know we talked about Mike Vrabel, but Mike McDonald has done a phenomenal job with that team since he's got there. Obviously, second season and he's in the Super Bowl. They're 14-3, top ranked scoring defense. So it's not like they're at a coaching disadvantage. Crazily, if any, he's been phenomenal. I Here is my thoughts around how Seattle wins this game. And it's very simple. You get the Drake Maye and you force mistakes.
Yeah, you gotta get turnovers.
Th that's how I think you win the game.
You gotta get turnovers and keep that field position.
Um, yeah, that's really I mean, I think that's the easiest path to success. Do I think there's a world where they win in a shootout? Yeah, absolutely. They just showed us they can win in a shootout yesterday, and they showed it in the second game against the Rams later in the season.
Yeah, but this defense ain't it's not I
Right.
don't think you can rely on that.
Not the kind of game you wanna get into, because if you're in a shootout, you're means your defense is getting lit up too, and at that point, what offense do you trust more? And be honest, Seattle fans, what offense do you trust more? The guy who has an MVP candidate running it, or the Sam Darnold's credit? He's played phenomenally, but who do you trust more? I don't know. I mean,
Well, I'm just glad you made a damn pick. Took you 2 fucking weeks.
listen, I already had the pick. I texted you. I texted you that after the Patriots won. I'm like, they're winning the chip. But you gotta leave some suspense for the viewers.
No, I think you was just really trying to, like, sway yourself to go with your second home over there. And you got a lot of people in your ear giving you bullshit.
Listen, man,
But I'm glad
I'm
you came to your senses. You're
impartial.
infamously known for that, to come to your senses. So I could
Listen,
appreciate that.
I'm impartial. Listen, there was a lot of P&W ties that were trying to sway me. Like, man, the Seattle defense, huh? Top scoring defense.
I
And
love
Sam
that.
Darnold,
You
phenomenal.
listen you listen to your brother who has much more knowledge when it comes to winning championships. I appreciate that.
Yeah. No, I know. Listen to
We'll
you.
leave it at this. Let me ask this last question because this is a very important question when it comes to the Super Bowl and these two teams.
Yeah.
4th and 1. Nah, well, 4th and goal.
Yes.
We'll say the 3 or 2 yard line. Seattle has the ball, 20 seconds left. Are you running it or are you trusting JSN? Now, granted, before you answer this question, JSN is pretty much Marshawn Lynch at this particular point in his career as far as the best player on their offense. Are you throwing the ball or are you running the ball?
You said 2 yards out.
2 yards out.
See, that's different than 1 yard out.
1 yard out.
Or
1
I'm
yard
running
or
it.
2 yard. You got
No,
1 yard is
2 yards might be a
making
little
it.
different. Yeah, absolutely. Think about it.
All right.
2-point conversion when they line up at the 2, and you ever see, like, they get, like, an offsides on the kickoff, and they're like, "All right, we'll go now because it's a yard closer."
Yeah.
I mean, I think that makes a huge difference on what you call. 4th and 1, I'd run it. 4th and 2, I consider doing something different. But it can't be the JSN because you know who's covering JSN? Number 0, which means 0 points for you. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't do that. And because of how they're coached, you know he's not gonna be alone. You would live with somebody else beating you. You live with somebody else beating you. It can't be JSN. It can't be. And I think that's why, like, even in the first Super Bowl where they obviously the faded interception, Bill Belichick was like, "We are not letting Marshawn Lynch," because they had chances at the goal line. He got stopped. That's why they threw the ball. So
You don't
the
gotta remind
Patriot,
me.
I mean, that's what they've been known for, though, is we will take away your favorite weapon and somebody else is going to beat you. That's been the Patriots thing forever. And I'm trying to think of a game where the Patriots lost where a team's best weapon beat them this season.
That's valid. How do you feel? All right. So you're running the ball at the 1, but
Running
pass
at the
play
one.
possibly at the 2.
Yeah, it really depends on like if we've been able to run the ball, then I'm running the ball. I
I
mean,
think that the coach, they would have to run the ball just so they don't face the scrutiny that Pete Carroll will have for the rest of his life.
yeah, but they don't have Marshawn Lynch in the backfield. I think that's the difference. Like
That's
you
valid.
literally had a guy whose nickname was Beast Mode in the backfield, and you decided to let Broncos country let's ride throw the ball.
No, don't do that because Russell was a problem at that
No,
time.
he was a problem. He was a problem. No. But you said it. The best player on their offense was in the backfield. Well, this
I
time
agree.
the best player on their offense is not in the backfield. But the only problem is the best player on the Patriots defense is lined up across that. So you could go great on great, but I think it's going to be great on great, and the defensive great is going to have somebody else helping him because you're not going to let that matchup win. You just won't. That's just, and that
Did
just gets a credit to how great JSN is.
No, he really is. I seen a clip of him, I think it was high school or like a Pro Bowl high school game,
He just
and
routes people up.
he made the defender fall. He just pointed out, I'm like, get up. But that was a good question. I mean, could you imagine if it came down to that?
Yo, if it came down to that, that would feed generations. It
It
would
really
feed
would.
generations. It really would. Because I mean, there's people who were teenagers during that game who have kids now, and you're literally talking about you're like we're living deja vu right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you what, if I was a Seattle fan, I would be sick to my stomach the entire time watching it.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
I don't
All
know,
right. Well, I
man.
appreciate your pick. I appreciate you responding to that with
Well,
honesty.
I have one more question for you because there's people that are rooting for the Patriots. There's people that are rooting for the Seahawks. But maybe the least controversial thing about this entire Super Bowl is the halftime performer. So I just want to know what your thoughts about that are.
Wow, what's wrong with the halftime?
No, I'm just curious what your thoughts are.
The Epstein files? No, I'm
The
just playing.
Epstein
I
files
don't
are
know.
crazy.
I just know
Imagine
that was
that
like a
shit.
hot topic. um, my thoughts on it?
Yeah.
As far as what?
As far as whatever. I mean, man, it was heated. You don't remember what things were like when they
Yeah, but
announced Bad Bunny?
you're asking the wrong person that question, guy.
I'm sure.
I probably won't even watch the halftime show myself. Not because it's Bad Bunny, just because I usually don't.
Wow.
No, I don't usually watch the halftime show.
Wow. This guy said the halftime show is un-American.
No, I didn't say that. That's crazy. I didn't say that.
I
What I'm
knew
saying
it.
is, I'm
You
probably gonna
wearing a
pour another
Patriots
one of
hat.
my bourbons, huh?
You wearing a Patriots hat saying it's un-American.
That's crazy. Nah, shout out to Bad Bunny, man. He did big things for PR.
That's
I
major,
respect
man.
you. The thing is like I just don't usually watch halftime shows. It
Not
doesn't.
me either.
It is what it is.
It's
I think
funny.
that I think that
Yeah.
people that have a problem with it because it's Spanish is just ignorant.
I think it's because of the comments that he's made about the state of what of the United States is in at the moment, and
See, I'm not even paying attention. I don't know
kind
what
of
the hell's
like,
going on.
if you don't like it, then why come, kind of deal, right? And it's the whole thing where
So
if you don't like something, then why are you here? Kind of argument. Like, oh, you could if there's other countries that are better than America, why don't you go? Kind of deal. Um, and
what do you
it's funny
mean?
how what
What do you mean
what do
by
I
that?
mean?
Like who said that? Like
No. Oh, tons of people say that. But he remember he didn't come to the US. He did when he did his tour for his album.
oh.
And people and
Oh.
because he was like, of what's going on, I don't want to go there. I mean, because he knew what would have happened if he would have pulled up, right? Who would have pulled up with the crowd?
Yeah.
So because of who's his crowd, right? Latins. So um, people were like, oh, that's how you feel. Then why are you even showing up? Why are we picking this guy as a halftime performer? Football is supposed to be an American thing. This is un-American. And so, it's great.
What's
And you know what
un-American?
well, and that's what I was thinking too, because I'm like, well, isn't it American to be able to speak your voice and speak your opinion? If you don't like what the state of where things are in your country, which by the way, the United States is his country, Puerto Ricans are Americans. I know there's a lot of people that didn't know that. Um, then isn't that the beauty of what this country is? That you can do that. You could use your platform to do that, to
Facts.
share what you feel.
Facts. Facts.
So isn't that more American than anything? That you can make a choice? That we have a country that's full of immigrants, and we have somebody who's technically he's not an immigrant, right? He's Puerto Rican, but we have somebody that's performing in one of the many languages that are spoken in this country. Isn't that American? Seems American to me. Yeah, my bad. I didn't cut you off.
No, you didn't. I mean, that's very profound. I think that you stated it best, and I'm not. I'll just leave it at that. I just think that like people make a big deal out of things that's not even like. What are you doing? You're not changing that he's going to perform at halftime. It's not
Right?
happening. So you're just gonna be
Petition.
mad? What are you gonna boycott it? Well, okay, don't watch it. You don't. That's the beauty of it. Like you said, you don't have to watch it. Change the
Your
channel.
choice. Your choice, man. I just think sometimes we don't realize how hypocritical and stupid we sound. But you know what? I'm thankful for times like that because then my dad always says, now the grass is cut real low
I
and you can
love
see
your
who the
dad,
snakes
man.
are. You can see who the snakes are.
And because we're on the subject, I want to shout out my daughter Nose, man, because we just had a great conversation prior to jumping on the pod, which is she's a little disturbed that a lot of people her age and her generation is not tapped in politically and what's going on in the world. And she feels like they should be at least informed at the very least, so they can make decisions based off of educated ones instead of just going with following the sheep or being the sheep, right? Of like, all right, I think I'm gonna just go with this because of X, Y, Z. Um, and I told her, like, I support her. Like, I told her, if you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. If you feel like you can make a difference and use your voice, then I'll support that wholeheartedly. Get on here, debate with Matt because he's one of those guys that just talks shit and doesn't know anything that's going on.
Well, that's fact.
He
I'm
don't
glad
care
that you
about
realize
shit.
that. Well, I was gonna ask you, like, do you think that people in her generation don't necessarily care because A, it's not interesting to them, B, maybe they don't understand the impact that they can have if they are informed and then go out and, vote, take take part in some of the civil things that are going on. Like I'm curious as to why she feels that what she thinks the reason why her generation necessarily doesn't care.
I can't speak for her, and I
Mm,
won't. But I'll say this is like, how many times we did shows to try to influence the youth with communication, leadership, like all that, right? Like maybe they're not tapped in, maybe they don't have some don't have the resources, at least in our area, in our communities. I feel like I'm sure there's people her age and her generation that are right.
mhm.
I won't stereotype that whole generation. It wouldn't even be the right thing to do. But maybe it stems from even our generation or my generation, where it's like we weren't tapped in. Like I wasn't, right? To this day, I'm still not as tapped in as I probably should be. But I know that when it came to some of the choices I had to make, I did some research because I felt like that's the right thing to do.
I think you know what I think it is? And I think what you said was profound, right? Like it could be generational. Like if you have parents or elders around you that didn't really give a shit, then what's likely you're gonna be your attitude towards it? Right? Apple doesn't fall far from the tree unless there's some kind of external force to get it to roll away. So I think for me at least is at my age, I can't tell you what I was thinking when I was Nove's age. I was a long time ago at this point. And but now it's like you need to put in so much effort to get information that isn't skewed. Where it's like,
Mm.
God damn, it's easier just to not give a fuck about it. And that's probably could be end up hurting you in the long run, right? You don't vote. Look what's going on right now. You don't keep yourself educated. look what's going on right now.
Correct,
But
correct.
it's like, man, I gotta put so much effort, and then I gotta dissect like what's fact and what's opinion because news isn't news no more. News
Correct.
is a little bit of news and a lot of bit of what I think about something. And so it's like, where can you how do I make it easy just to get the facts? And I know there's apps where you can see like the things that you read, are they more conservative or liberal and making sure that you balance it out. But it's like, why are we having to put so much effort to try to get down to some kind of truth?
Yeah.
It's it's
And
insane, man.
half the shit, like even myself, half the shit I see or read, I don't even know if it's real. With AI and stuff. I watch
Mm,
videos sometimes. I'm like, is this a real thing? Obviously, there's some that you can definitely tell. It's not
right.
like when they throw the old person through the wall when at the chiropractor's office. But like,
Oh yeah,
there's some videos I'm like, I can't tell.
for sure. You you know what? Another thing I think, at least for me too, is when you tap in, and I don't, and this is purposely, I don't. But when you listen to things, everything is just so negative, man. Everything
Yeah,
is negative. Every headline is this, and we're facing this problem and that problem and this problem. And it's like, dude, I got enough worries on my own plate. I
yeah,
got
yeah,
enough
yeah,
problems on my own plate. I don't need additional ones from the people that are supposed to be running the country that I live in to the people that they're taking part of my check. Like, I just want to pay my taxes, go home, live a good life, and be done.
yeah. That's where I'm at in life myself, man. I just want some fucking peace of mind, protect my energy, and it is not easy. So to deal with other shit that I don't necessarily have to,
I
it's
think
tough.
I think that's tough. And you know what I also too is, and I mean we're not necessarily big enough to big enough of a show to get into this thing, but you see, and I'm curious what your thoughts about it are. Um, is people now more than ever are like almost being like celebrities and big voices are like being pressed to kind of be these social advocates for
Mm,
things, for a cause, stand behind something. We need your
mm,
voice. Where, and I know this is a big debate between when we talk about like LeBron and Jordan, the social aspects where LeBron is more outspoken and Jordan's like, I just want to play the game, bro. I just want to play the game, bro. I'm curious what your takes on that are. Like, how would you, if you were in that situation, how do you think you would handle something like that? Where would you feel like because we talk for a living, eventually we will? Do you think like it would be our obligation to kind of give an opinion on it?
no,
No?
I don't feel
No?
obligated to do anything I don't want to do,
Well, good for
and I
you.
want and I wouldn't want to do anything. If I did, I would do some research of my own. Granted, it's going to be a hell of a time because of what you stated, and I'd have to be passionate about it. Like I have to have some passion. Like we just did a whole hour episode. Let's be real. We just did a whole hour episode prior to this, and scrapped it because
Scrapped.
there was no passion behind it. There was what we was
0.
talking about just didn't resonate. So no,
No, I appreciate that because I feel like I'd be in a close well, you're firmly entrenched in the know. I feel like I would be in the know, but maybe closer to like the fence line of like, man, should we say something? Like to at least acknowledge it, right? Like we're not turning a blind eye to it.
I feel what you're saying. I think that it'd be depending on what the cause is and what we're actually talking about. Because you didn't give me a specific.
That's true.
It, then that may sway me, right? Like you know what? You know what else too is like even people who are against. We'll just talk about ICE for a second, right? Because you kind of mentioned Bad Bunny and all that, and that's a
Mhm.
big thing going on in this country. The problem is like people, and shout out to the people who's not being affected by it immediately, right? Like there's no skin in the game, right?
Mhm.
because they're there for their cause and whatever they feel is right for them or what they're believing in. But
Right.
then you get impacted by it with people you know, family members, friends. Now you're like, now I'd feel more obligated, especially because it's like, damn, I know what it's like to be on this side because I'm witnessing it. I'm being impacted by it. My friends, my family members. Um, so to answer your question, I'm still on the no because we wasn't talking about anything specific. But if it
Pacific,
was
yep.
something more specific where I could be like, all right, now I'm passionate about it. Now I feel like I can speak to this at a level of confidence where I can make a difference in educating somebody of in that nature.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and I mean, I think you said something that's really profound, right? Where it's like, to the people who are standing up for a cause that really doesn't, in the immediate, like, obvious
Hmm.
impact them, right? Where it's like, you know, they're not brown or black. They don't have any family members that are. They don't have any close friends that are, but they're like, I think that this is just wrong what's going on, and I'm gonna go ahead and say something. Right? Because I don't think a majority of people are like that. I think a majority of us would be like, "Hey, we're just gonna stay away from that." Because it's like it takes a whole lot of work to raise your voice and then have to go and put action behind it.
Yeah,
But so that's one thing. The other thing which you mentioned is in the same vein, which is there is a serious lack of empathy in this country. And I shouldn't say just this specific country. It could be all over the world. For all I know, I can only speak on what I see, and it's because it's not you. Because it's not
mhm,
someone that you know, you
mhm,
don't care.
mhm,
And listen, when it comes to immigration or whatever, I understand every country deports people. I get it, right? There's laws on how to lawfully enter. I'm not arguing any of that, right? There's a process in place. But we've all seen some injustice take place. And
that's the problem.
the problem is when we see injustice take place, and we see it, and yet we still say, "I'm okay with this." That's where the problem lies for me. Even
Mhm,
beyond the empathy part. Like, you see it in front of you, you know that if it was you, there would be a massive problem, but because it's not you, and you're blindlessly following something, it's fine. You're gonna turn up, you're gonna be like, "Oh, no, I'm cool with it." That's the problem for me. Why do we live that way? You know what I mean? There's no reason
mhm.
for it. There's no benefit to that. And so, um, and I think it jades people like the younger generation. We're like, man, who wants to see that shit? Who
And you're
wants to
seeing
see
it
that
so
shit?
often. That's the other problem. It's like you see it so often, you almost become numb to it. Then
Mhm.
you see the protests, you see all these other things, but it's not even really making a dent because the shit continues.
Continues.
But then, and that's another conversation within the conversation I had with Nov is like the sad thing is if people could protest and it don't become peaceful because then it becomes violence. And why does it have to become violent? I don't
And
know, man.
that's on both sides. And I think that's another problem we talk about. Why are there sides? Why are there sides? That don't make no sense. Name of this country, the first word in the name of the country is United.
Mhm,
That shit ain't true. Why are there sides at that point?
mhm,
We should be able to collectively take a stance on something. And I'm not saying everybody has to think the same way, but when we can't agree on a principle of something that's wrong, we're in a bad spot
mm,
where it's like, yeah, and I'm not defending illegal immigration, right? Like I get it. If you want to remove folks that came here illegally, I'm not gonna go crazy. But when you do illegal things back to them, well, then there's a problem because we're saying, hey, we're cool with doing illegal things. Because then where does it stop?
Mm,
You're cool. You're cool with break. Who's to say that you wouldn't do that to me just because of how I look,
correct.
right? Where do you draw the line? Because of how I look, I'm dangerous. Because how I look, there's questions if I'm legal or not, if my wife's legal or not, if my kids might be or not. That shit don't make no sense,
Yeah.
but we're okay with it. Shit don't make no sense, brother. And that's why the Super Bowl halftime show is a good thing. Just tying it back. But
Good.
it it's uncomfortable to have conversations like this. Whatever, if you could, whoever's listening, they can completely disagree with us. And I'm not sure how you feel, but that for me, that's okay. That's fine. You can disagree with me. But that's the beauty of the country that we live in. We could disagree. And as long as we don't act on no forms of hatred in a bad way, then let's just keep it at a civil disagreement and keep it pushing. Feel? And that's that.
Wow. I love that,
All right.
man.
Let's get off of this before I keep going. I said this was going to be a short episode, and it's already at 40, almost 48 minutes. So lock it in. Quan, New England Patriots. Matt, New England Patriots. We'll be here. Who knows? We might even come right after the show, after the Super Bowl, and do something. But if not, shortly after, to record something about the Patriots hoisting their 7th league-leading Lombardi trophy.
Let's
Book it
go,
here.
man. Let's go.
Appreciate everybody for tuning in. And as always, think critically, speak infamously. It's love.
No.